Peoria Sunday Morning League Baseball is ready to go. The season's final series comes to Dozer Park. The championship series as a winner will be crowned here this weekend between the Tin Lizard Twins and the Firehouse Pizza Expos. And alongside Jonathan Michael, it's Gavin Russell. Happy to be here for this first of three in the PSML Championship Series. It's a beautiful sunny day, and lots of folks have come out to the ballpark, still trickling in, and we're ready for some good baseball here at Dozer as the reserves get introduced for both teams. But it's finally down to the last 3 games of the year, maybe even 2 games. We'll have to see how it plays out. But John, it's been an entertaining season. Can't wait to see how this one goes.
Indeed, it has been, Gavin, and then I'm really looking forward to this championship series. I mean, the Sunday Morning League in the playoffs always is so unexpected. There's always teams making runs. Well, this year we have 2 teams, underdogs, that made runs to this championship series. Firehouse Pizza comes in as the 5 seed, and they are the favorite in this one, although I'd say it's pretty close between the two. But the 5 seed Expos and the 7 seed Tin Lizard Twins making a run, so it shows how good the depth of the league is this year. Firehouse Pizza, they lost their first game of the playoffs actually to Cruisins. They were on a tear, won 4 games in a row, including beating Cruisins twice over Sunday and Monday to get here. As for Tin Lizard, though, they just tore through the bottom half of the bracket again as that 7 seed. And now they're here, and both teams have the chance to win their first PSML championship since at least they've been with their current sponsors, if not in franchise history.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming for both of these squads, but again, as we talked about when we were on a broadcast here maybe about a month ago or so, you never know what's going to happen in the PSML, a very thorough league, really not much separation between the top and the bottom for the most part, but we'll see how it plays out here. We'll have some interesting notes on this matchup, but let's get you tonight's lineups to start with as they get introduced onto the field. We'll start with the Tin Lizard Twins, who will be the visitors here this evening. They'll be led off by Cale Jacobs, the center fielder. Batting second, Gavin O'Loughlin, the left fielder. Tyler Pippin will play second base and bat third. Jimmy Driscoll is the third baseman batting fourth. Grant Hackney will play in right field. Jace Wilkerson will pitch and also bat sixth. Jason Kuzniar is catching, batting seventh. Seth Bauman, the first baseman, batting eighth. And in the 9 hole, it's the shortstop, Hunter Wheat.
Yeah, Wilkerson, obviously that guy to watch for Tin Lizard, the league MVP. I mean, he's one of their best batters and also leads them in innings pitched as well. So, again, hitting 294 on the year, a couple of extra base hits, actually 11 to be exact on the season, and also a sub-2 ERA with 61 strikeouts and 56 in the third inning. So, Jace Wilkerson really earned that MVP honor and obviously helped take his team to right here at Dozer Park for the championship series. So, I definitely earned that.
No doubt did. Excellent two-way player. It's so hard to do that. That's the modern game for you, right? We've got a lot of two-way players, and if you can both pitch and hit at a high level, you're one of the most valuable people in the game.
Yep.
As the Firehouse Pizza Expos take the field, as they'll be the home team tonight. As the anthem is coming up, we'll get you their lineup after the anthem. But we'll pause here for a moment, and we'll be right back with you for Peoria Sunday Morning League Championship Series Baseball on Clutch Sports Media.
Please welcome Sue Crispin as she performs our national anthem. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous
That was Sue Cushman on the national anthem. Longtime supporter of the Sunday Morning League and high school athletics. I know we've had some interactions with Sue.
We have. We
very
see her
nice
a lot.
lady. Very, very nice lady.
Indeed.
But with that, we'll bring into the Firehouse Pizza lineup as they'll be in the field to start off with. Nolan Ryman will be the pitcher on the mound. And in the field, here's their lineup. It'll be Ryan Vogel batting first, playing in center. Jackson Chatterton is batting second in left field. Cash Van Houten is in the 3-hole at shortstop. Eli Mechanicu is the second baseman. Connor Drowns bats fifth and plays right field. Stefan Stuffelbeam is the catcher. Brock Luna bats seventh as the designated hitter. Evan Daxenbickler is the third baseman, batting eighth rather. And Nash Clements is the first baseman, batting ninth.
Yeah, a lot of Mid-Illini stars and also former Bradley players in this Firehouse Pizza lineup, Gavin. Ryan Vogel, Jackson Chatterton, two guys that I am very familiar with watching. I did not watch them in high school, but saw them plenty of years here at Bradley, covering their games here at Dozer Park, and those guys both have still got it. Still in their, early to mid 20s and really powering this team. But then also you got guys that are, still upcoming seniors in the Mid-Illini Conference, like Cash Van Houten, Eli Mechanicu, arguably two of the best seniors in the entire region and maybe even the whole state of Illinois. Then you got Connor Drowns. Maybe some might remember him, played in Pekin back at the day, also was a football star. Remember those days watching those star Pekin teams, and also Evan Daxenbickler too. Again, a Limestone standout down there in the lineup too as well. So a very fun lineup for this Expos team, and excited to see how it all pins out here against the Twins.
Indeed, and we'll start this game off as Nolan Ryman will deliver the first pitch of the ball game for a strike to Cale Jacobs. Ryman has had a fantastic season himself. Wasn't recognized on an all-star team, but certainly a big part as he gets a slow chopper back to him, and it'll be the first out of the ball game. That's what you want right there. If you're Nolan Ryman, just a slow little chopper, nothing giving you a headache, and you get your first out.
Exactly, and these guys have done this all season. Ryman's been a solid pitcher for the Expos, but it is a bit different when you realize that, hey, this is the championship series, and this is, the place where we've been playing to get to all year. Now, for some of these Expos, this isn't, completely foreign territory, because some may remember last year they also made a run to the championship series where they eventually lost to the Poor Bros Jacks, who were the top seed and defended that top seed in the championship series. But again, this is kind of a revenge tour this week for the Expos as Ryman gets another swing and a miss.
We'll see if the Expos have it in them this weekend, but Tin Lizard has something to say about it as well, as both teams have been red hot over the last couple of weeks. Swing and a miss there from Gavin O'Loughlin, the left fielder. 1-2 is the count. Ryman with the payoff pitch is swung on and missed. Strike three.
That's just a perfect start for Ryman. Again, through two batters, only one of them has made contact. It was a weak contact in the infield. So just, again, really helps you settle the nerves and get your team feeling good. As they'll try and retire Tyler Pippin now. Again, another Morton player. I believe Ryman and Pippin were both teammates at Morton High School just about a year or two ago. So kind of an interesting matchup here. We'll see who comes out on top.
We'll see who knows each other best in this matchup. As strike one is taken on the outside edge. Wasting no time, fires another strike in there, and Ryman, he's pitching with some force, loses the ball cap on the mound.
Yeah, that's when you're throwing hard. And for another Expo, Cash Van Houten, I've seen him throw, and I've seen his cap kind of fall off a little bit sometimes.
Fouled away, staying alive. Coming into tonight's ball game, Ryman, and this really should tell you just how great the Peoria Sunday Morning League is with their pitchers. Ryman was not recognized as an all-star or pitcher of the year, but he had a 1.38 ERA, 3-1 record on the season. Another foul. He pitched 25 in the third innings, 36 strikeouts, 2 complete games, and a shutout. That's a pretty impressive
Wow.
stat line and not even getting recognized.
Yeah, I mean, we have seen it all year long here on Clutch Sports Media. I mean, obviously we haven't broadcasted every game, but the ones that we do see, usually almost every time there's at least one, if not both pitchers are just on it that night, and that's just kind of the way things go in the PSML. You don't usually see those scores that are 12-10 or 11-8 or even 9-6, for example. And a lot of these games are 4-2, 5-1, things of that nature.
A little bit of a tricky play at second, but handled very well there as the Expos put him away 1-2-3. Mechanicu makes the play and the side is retired.
And a little pirouette action there from Mechanicu. Dunlap Star was a second-team all-area Clutch Sports Media selection. Has had our all-area teams released a couple weeks ago, and it also goes to show you, talk about how good the depth of the Sunday Morning League is, that also goes to show you just how good the depth of baseball is in the air. When Eli Mechanicu, who is a star, pitching and hitting, a great two-way player in his own right, again, he just barely missed it. I can say that because I was the one tabulated all the votes. He was just right on the fringe. But a lot of other great talented players on that first team. But Mechanicu, one of the only juniors on that team, so definitely looking forward to seeing what he does next year. I'm sure he'll be a first-teamer next year for sure. But, again, just so much good baseball players here in this area, and a lot of them come here to PSML to play during the summer.
Indeed. Sunday Morning League, just a wealth of talent showcasing the best of Central Illinois, but even guys from outside of the area. Many of these guys, current or former college players, even a couple of ex-pros, including the guy leading off for Firehouse Pizza, Ryan Vogel. As you mentioned, former Bradley Brave. But as we dig into this matchup here, the season series isn't really maybe what you would expect. Is Tin Lizard won all 3 meetings back in June, including a doubleheader on June 28th. Scores of 2-0, 7-2, and 8-7. So in a couple of those matchups, Tin Lizard, no trouble scoring runs. Ryman, who is the pitcher for the Expos, was on the losing end of one of those efforts. So we'll see if baseball is being baseball and throws all the numbers out the window, or if the numbers hold true. But that's the season series.
Yeah, I'm right with you, Gavin. I think this series is about as close to a coin flip as it gets, right? You have two teams that are lower seeds. They're both kind of feeling it. Obviously, you have Tin Lizard maybe a slight advantage because, A, they did win the season series, and also, 2, they've only had to play 3 games in the playoffs rather than 4, so they might be a little bit more well off in terms of their rotation and guys, just fresh arms in general. But even still, Firehouse's last game was back on Monday, so we're sitting here on Thursday. We have a game obviously tomorrow and then Saturday if necessary. So even if they have to play, on Saturday, for example, they should be able to, I believe, probably throw some of their guys that did throw maybe even on Sunday or Monday.
Gotta manage it well this time of year, keeping everybody fresh. As Jace Wilkerson, the league MVP, throws a ball inside for his first pitch of the game to Ryan Vogel. And Firehouse Pizza, they're keeping their all-star pitcher Braxton Barrientos in the wings. We'll see if maybe he gets a call out of the bullpen, or perhaps is in line to start the next game.
And again, we don't know, with the Sunday Morning League and a lot of leagues similar to this, player availability is something that, it kind of shifts from game to game. Obviously, these guys do have other commitments and lives outside of baseball, but the Expos also have Carlos Sanabria, so something to keep an eye on too. Again, the former MLB pitcher as well. So we'll see. We'll see if they end up unleashing him at some point this week, as he is pretty dominant.
Expos have a couple of gems up their sleeves, so we'll see how they decide to play it as Vogel flies out to left field for the first out of the ball game.
Now we'll see again another Bradley bat here, Jackson Chatterton. Again, Vogel and Chatterton usually bat 1-2 today. They batted 1 and 2 quite a bit at Bradley during their time.
A strike on the outside edge is Chatterton with the old school no batting gloves. Not wearing any extra gear up there. He's just going to grip it and rip it.
I don't know if I remember him not having batting gloves when he played at Bradley again. It was a few years ago. Chatterton and I believe, are right around the same age. He was either the same graduating class as I was or maybe a year behind me, but I don't really remember him having the no batting gloves. But again, him and Vogel, both very similar players, left-handed bats, not necessarily the biggest guys in the field, but they do have sneaky power. I mean, both these guys, I saw it, yeah, Bradley, obviously they're using metal bats for that. This is a wood bat league, but even with using the lumber, both these guys do have the power to jack one out of here. So again, they're both very speedy as well. They're very clean fielders. Can really just kind of almost play almost anywhere in the field. Vogel played a lot in center field, but Chatterton has played a little bit of infield, a little bit of outfield, and I think Vogel's even pitched this season for the Expos too as well. So adding some versatility there.
Ball up high, 3-2, full count to Chatterton. You got to think the familiarity in this ballpark, just the way they see the ball. It's got to be some comfortability there for a couple of guys that played their college ball here, and it's a walk there for Jackson Chatterton. So the first base runner of the game comes via a free pass, and that'll bring up Cash Van Houten.
And that's what Chatterton does. I mean, we're looking at what he's done this season here in the PSML. 6 strikeouts, 13 walks now with that one. I mean, anytime you have more walks and strikeouts, it's pretty impressive. When you have double or more as many walks and strikeouts, that is quite something.
Hey, you don't see that too often, especially nowadays. It's a lot of swing and miss in today's day and age of baseball. But Cash Van Houten, he's a great story. Excellent up-and-comer. We had his debut in the Sunday Morning League earlier this season. I was on the call with Brock Alkire for that one as he takes down low. But he had a great game in his debut. Ripped a couple of base hits, including a double, I believe. He's going to be a great senior this season, and keep your eye on Cash Van Houten potentially in the future as he goes to college and maybe even goes pro.
Possibly, yeah. He's committed to University of Illinois, and even I think Tin Lizard, they also have an Illinois commit on their team. He hasn't played a lot this year for them, but Cole Brent, normal U-High outfielder, also committed to Illinois, and so very exciting for both of them. Van Houten, again, class of 2027, and I mean, a lot of times you hear about Van Houten, you hear about how live his arm is. I mean, this guy, even since he was a late freshman, early sophomore, has been ripping low to mid 90s at times, which is at the high school level almost unhittable. So it's a great arm, but he can also add a lot with his bat too.
He's got a favorable 3-1 count here. Runner on first is Chatterton. Quick pitch. Maybe had Van Houten a little off balance, so full count again. John, it definitely speaks volumes. You got great college commits like Van Houten choosing to play here in the Sunday Morning League. There's a lot of other collegiate and prep leagues of sorts, the Prospect League, things like that, but Sunday Morning League that one's fouled away. Insult to injury there for Van Houten.
It looks like catcher hang on to it. I think that's what he did not. So
I think he just
staying alive.
Got hit in the leg or something, maybe right on the inside of the thigh there, and stung a little bit. Needed to walk it off.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, Gavin. I mean, there's other leagues even in Peoria and around. I mean, obviously you did see the Prospect League, and there have been players that have been snatched up by the Prospect League. R.J. Duncan being one of them, a couple other guys too as well. But it is very nice to see some of these guys, and especially again, us covered high school sports at Clutch. Now that we're in our 3rd or 4th year here doing this PSML games and broadcasts, a lot of these guys that even graduated a few years ago, I know that's not going to be the last I'm going to see of them because a lot of them do wind up and end up playing here. Guys like Nolan Ryman, Tyler Pippen. I remember those guys. So the more that we have been here, and the more that we've covered all these sports and done these PSML games, it's a lot cooler to see guys that and that you covered, and kind of grow and flourish here.
Full circle
also
moment.
In college.
Indeed, very, very nice to see a lot staying here, even coming back from other ventures.
Yep.
But right now it's Eli Mechanicu with 2 on and 1 out.
I want to get a quick correction. Cole Brent is actually on Firehouse Pizza, not Tin Lizard. So briefly mentioned him earlier, but it gives the Expos 2 Illinois commits on that team.
The Firehouse Fighting Illini is what we're going to call them the rest of the game. This one's ripped to third base. It could be 2. Over to first. Double play. Clutch play there from Tin Lizard. And Jace Wilkerson gets out of an early jam. And that's how they'll be sat down onto the top of the second.
Just perfect complimentary baseball there. Wilkerson giving up the back-to-back walks, but his fielders said, hey, we got you. That was just very clean double play between Driscoll to Pippin and over to Bauman, the first baseman. And McCannick, obviously, still a lot of life in his legs, being just a high school senior now. But, again, just because that whole double play was so clean, they were able to get him in by about a step or a step and a half.
Great play there, but we'd like to now thank our sponsors for the Peoria Sunday Morning League, the Blue Duck Barbecue Tavern. That's a great place to eat at. Bomb Sports, Bradley Welker, Bradfields, Busey Bank, CAD Construction, Captivation Dance, Cookies in Peoria Heights, Core Construction, and all of our other great sponsors will continue to recognize throughout tonight's ball game that help make the Sunday Morning League possible, as well as our team sponsors, Tin Lizard and Firehouse Pizza. Make sure to get out and support your local businesses and establishments. They help make Sunday Morning League baseball possible year after year. Continues the history of this great league.
Indeed. I was about to say, the Sunday Morning League has been around for over 100 years, and it's crazy to think it has been around for so long, but the reason they're able to keep it going is because of those local businesses. So if you are a local business, I guarantee you can reach out to the fine folks at the Sunday Morning League, Zach Schulte, Tim Cundiff. They can help you become a sponsor and get your name on our broadcast of all these games we do, maybe even another team as well. But also, too, again, we encourage those of you watching, if you are in the Peoria area, to, again, support some of those businesses since they are, help make all of this possible for yet another season.
Jimmy Driscoll is leading off the top of the second for Tin Lizard. He's down in the hole 0-2. The pitch outside. As Tin Lizard, just 3 batters so far, but looking for their first base runner of the ball game.
And Driscoll cleanup bat hitting .212 on the year, 5 RBIs. So we've seen Driscoll a couple times over the years. Sunday Morning League action, maybe not quite the year that he was wanting this year from a numbers perspective, but we know that he has got it, and so does the Tin Lizard manager Donnie Severe, longtime legend here in the Peoria baseball community.
Takes inside and worked himself back into the count. Driscoll, big right-handed bat, so he can poke one out there for sure. The 2-2. Outside is Ryman trying to find the black, but too far on the outside edge.
From up here, it looked like that might have been a slider, and it was a good location for a pitch, but I think this championship series, we're not going to see a super generous strike zone, if I had to guess.
And Driscoll works back from an 0-2 hole to a walk. So there's the first base runner of the ball game for Tin Lizard. And that's going to bring up Grant Hackney.
That's really what you got to keep an eye out for. Really could be dangerous, kind of silent killers here in this championship series are those walks. Again, with how good just all these pitchers on the PSML, that being a wood bat league too, and base runners are essentially currency. And anytime you get one on, again, you can really play some small ball, steal some bases, maybe take advantage of an error or two. And that's how a lot of these teams kind of score some of their runs. I believe both these teams kind of used kind of some of those get them on, get them over, and get them in mentality to squeeze out some of these playoff wins.
A pitch out there. Maybe thinking that Driscoll might want to try to swipe a bag in a very interesting batting stance from Grant Hackney. Kind of a low crouch. He's almost saying like he might bunt it, but then kind of pulls back and gets nice and low.
It's not really quite to this extent, but Gavin, have you seen that clip of, I believe it was a Little League baseball player that crouched all the way down to his knees? Again, it's one thing
Yes.
when you're 5 foot something, 6 foot, but this kid is 4 feet tall and he's essentially just barely above the ground. And umpire, I remember in that clip, had none of it. I mean, pitcher threw a strike right down the middle and he called it as above the batter's head. And now, obviously, Mr. Hackney is not quite crouched that far down, but you do it is interesting to see what some of these guys do to potentially, I know, kind of squeeze up that strike zone, but it doesn't matter there.
As that was good enough for strike 3 for Ryman, so that's his second K of the game. And the first out, and that'll bring up Jace Wilkerson. And John, back to your point, I do remember that. That was part of the Little League World Series.
Yeah.
Of course, it's aired every year.
It's coming up soon, I think.
I was going to say, I wasn't even sure if it was happening. I haven't been following it this season.
Well, funny you mentioned it because just last night I was catching up with our company's co-founder, my good friend Joey Wright, and we were talking about some other things we have planned for this weekend. Is swing and miss there from Wilkerson, but we were right before he left. He wanted to log into our company's Game Changer that we use, and I said, "Well, what for?" And he said, "Well, it's because the Champaign-Urbana Little League," and Joey is a Champaign native, works at the Champaign News-Gazette. He says they're playing the playoffs right now. If they won 2 games yesterday, I believe they 2 games yesterday, and then maybe one more after that. I think they would have been playing at least in I think the regional play, or at least on the doorstep of the Little League World Series. But unfortunately, I saw they did lose yesterday, so unfortunately the Champaign-Urbana Little League will not be representing the Midwest region, but it's still cool to see, especially Little League in this day and age. Again, a lot of players playing travel ball and all of that stuff like that. So it's still fun watching those, especially all those teams from all around the world.
Indeed, hitting a little closer to home. Never know, one of these years might have a local team. As Ryman is rolling now, he had his third strikeout against his opposite pitcher, Jace Wilkerson. And Jason Kuzniar trying to do something. He skies this one to the second baseman, and that'll be out number 3. Leadoff walk, but no problems for Nolan Ryman. As Firehouse Pizza will come back up to bat.
And just they kind of didn't break down the wall, but they kind of made a dent in that bottom of the first inning with those back-to-back walks. So see the Expos can eventually make some contact, get the ball in play, and start really seeing some pitches and try and build on it. But nice job too from Ryman and working out of that leadoff walk. Not always the easiest thing to do.
Jace Wilkerson back out onto the mound and obviously surrendered a couple of walks, but the MVP of the league for his outstanding two-way play this season. He pitched 56 1/3 entering tonight's game to a tune of a 1.99 ERA, a 6-3 record, 61 strikeouts, 4 complete games, and 2 shutouts. So an impressive resume for Jace Wilkerson, the Monmouth College Scot, as he comes out back for his second inning. Connor Drowns will be leading off. He hit .290 this season, 20 hits, 9 RBIs, and 7 stolen bases. So a guy that gets on base a fair bit, and when he gets on, definitely liable to steal.
Yeah, Drowns is always one of the more fun players to watch. Seems like whenever we see him on Clutch Sports Media, always has a pretty solid game, or at least does something to contribute to the win. And he was one of the bigger moves in the offseason, which, yes, they do have in the Sunday Morning League. A lot of teams, a lot of players do stay with the same teams in most years, but Drowns, a former Coles Diamond Gallery Royal, now with the Expos, and big acquisition by them.
Definitely mutually beneficial, I'll say.
And he's also another player, too, that has more walks than strikeouts. 12 walks, 7 strikeouts on the year.
Very, very rare feat, as he has a good eye right there. And so far, really haven't seen a ton of chases. We've seen some swing and misses, of course, but far different than chasing a bad pitch out of the zone. So these hitters being very picky. And another tough take right there, right at the knees. 2-0.
Yeah, again, you're seeing why he doesn't strike out much. Again, great eye there to see that one was just a bit down. Now he's got a lot of freedom here this at bat.
Wilkerson so far not finding the zone. Again, maybe a bit of a hitter-friendly zone. But 3-0 count. Prime position for the number 5 hitter, Drowns. And that'll be ball 4, so a 4-pitch walk. Wilkerson a little bit frustrated, maybe thought he had a couple of those pitches, but these first couple innings, you got to figure out where the zone is. Kind of got to play to the circumstance.
Yeah, that was, again, that 3-0 pitch, I think it might have just gotten away from Wilkerson. It seemed a little bit high to me. I don't think that was obviously the spot he was going for on a 3-0 count, but that's 3 walks now drawn by the Expos, and keep an eye on Drowns at first base. He's got a big lead right there and didn't bite. Kuzniar also pretty solid behind the dish too, so we'd like to see Drowns try and run and see who's got the better arm.
Pretty convincing pickoff move right there. Had Drowns scrambling back to first, and he's digging in, looking like he is going to test that arm.
There he goes.
Took off. Great jump by Drowns, and he's going to be way ahead of the throw. Stays on the base, and he is in there. And he got a great jump on that.
Yeah, he was almost halfway to first, or to second, excuse me, by the time that pitch was even on the way. So again, a good throw from Kuzniar there, but just no chance to catch Drowns.
Runner in scoring position. It's Stefan Stuffelbeam, the catcher.
Stuffelbeam, another guy that we talked about, like, local guys. Stuffelbeam comes from a little bit further. He's a Macomb High School grad.
And another ball upstairs. So a lot of these Expos hitters have been in the driver's seat for their at-bats. No hits yet. All the base runners have been via the walk. And that one way inside, so another base runner via another free pass. And now Brock Luna, a honorable mention of the PSML this year. He'll be up to bat.
Yeah, that is a tough situation there if you're Wilkerson, because I thought, maybe 3-1, maybe at this point, maybe he's just looking just to maybe put Stuffelbeam on, set up a double play here with 2 outs. Again, maybe not what they were planning on doing, but even still, if that was the intention, it's tough because now you got Luna up at bat, and he's got 5 doubles, 3 homers on the year, 16 RBIs. So, and he's also coming off a pretty good game too. It went 2 for 2, 2 doubles and an RBI on Monday against Cruzen. So, again, not a guy you want to see. He is much more dangerous than your average 7-hole hitter.
Really not a weak link in either of these lineups. Going to be tough all the way through, regardless of where you're at in the batting order. Wilkerson gets a meeting at the mound. Wraps that up, tries to lock back in. No outs. And 2 aboard. An early chance for Firehouse. Showing bunt, interestingly enough. A guy with a little bit of power. And he's looking to just move the runners ahead.
Yeah, I'm surprised to see it. I really do not mind it, though. That is Kent Dietz in the Expos dugout, knowing the situation, knowing that, hey, Wilkerson has made some mistakes. Is another steal there.
So a double steal, kind of flashed the bunt. Drowns just taking all the bases. We'll see if he tries to take home.
It might not have any more bases left by the end of that if Connor Drowns keeps on stealing them. But, well, now I don't think the bunt is in play. But, I was going to say that the Expos, they're just trying to get runs right now. I think they trust Luna, though, to put bat on ball. But Wilkerson says no.
Couple of failed bunt attempts and swings and misses for strike 3. So Wilkerson gets a big out, but still threatening. Evan Daxon Bickler, the third baseman, will try and drive home one or more runs.
Wilkerson's pitch count now at 32. So again, not obscenely high for the second inning, but something to keep an eye on, especially if this inning goes any longer than these next two batters.
And Wilkerson just having trouble finding the zone in these first couple of innings. A little bit of nerves, a little extra pressure here in the championship series, although just the first of potentially 3 games, so season not over tonight regardless of the outcome. As he finds the zone with a strike.
And that is true about, again, you can lose in the Sunday morning playoffs. You can even, I was doing the math, you can even lose twice in the Sunday morning league playoffs and still win as long as one of those losses is in the championship series. As that foul ball went back near the concourse, heard some fans making noise down there. Hopefully everyone is okay. But, obviously, that's a good point about, I think, you can lose this game and still be all right, but I think you really do want to start the series on the right foot. It takes a lot of pressure off of you knowing that, hey, we got 2 chances to win 1 game, and having to win 2 chances or having to win 2 games in both your next 2. But either way, I think both these teams will be able to, just because one team wins does not mean that the series is over by any means.
Right. Swing and a miss. Took a little something off that one, and Wilkerson pulls the string for out number 2. So after back-to-back walks, now back-to-back strikeouts. So Wilkerson seeming to lock back in.
Wilkerson last inning used his defense to get out of it. Now this inning saying, well, I might be able just to rely on myself to get out of this one. Still got to get past Clemens, who's hitting .239, 5 RBIs on the year.
And way back to the backstop, and that's going to score a run, a wild pitch. As Drowns didn't steal it himself, but he ended up taking it anyway. Still no hits for the Expos, and they lead 1-0.
And that is exactly what I'm talking about. You have to be on your game, especially in the field, with the walks, with anything that is preventable, because those runs are up and they are very valuable in games like this that we at least anticipate to be low scoring.
This one was to first base. That's a fair ball. Nash Clements, he's going to head to second base, and he'll be in there standing up with a double. Just chopped down inside the first baseline, and it's 2-0 Firehouse.
What a hit there from Clements. I mean, that one was just past the first baseman, Bauman, over there at first. It was a little curving ball. It was tough to really discern from our angle, but I do believe the umpire made the right call. He was right there in front of him. It kind of, just went just enough, kind of like a right-handed slice in golf. Started out left, kind of curved back to the right a little bit. I'm a lefty. I'm used to going right to left with my golf swing, but as you know, Gavin, we golfed earlier in this year, and I am very unpredictable. I could go anywhere at any given point.
Well, that makes 2 of us, John. Not the best golfer. Better at broadcasting than golfing. As Vogel takes one on the shoulder. A little bit frustrated. Might have broke the bat, tossing it back over to the dugout. But another on base, and Wilkerson seemed like he had it going on. Got beat with a little slice down the first baseline, and now more trouble bringing up Jackson Chatterton.
Yeah, really tough going from a tie ball game with 2 outs. Now you're down 1-0, and you got 2 runners still on base, and still just 2 outs. So, it's still 2 runs now after that. So now you're down 2-0, and still not out of the woods yet.
Chatterton will look at a strike. Two aboard, 2 out. Beautiful evening in Peoria as the sun's starting to set a little bit. This one's to the hole, through. And that will score another run as Vogel heads to third, and it's 3-0 Firehouse.
Great job keeping the momentum up by Firehouse. I mean, after that wild pitch scoring rounds, it's just been all Expos and just keeping the line moving, and some great hits to the right side. Great effort, too, from Tyler Pippen at second. But again, only the best of the best second basemen are going to reach that one. That one was really tough to get.
Firehouse deciding to throw out the season series stats. They're not focused on that. They're here to play tonight. As Cash Van Houten, who reached on a walk his first time up, looks to continue the damage here in the bottom of the second.
And now if you're any of the Expos hitters, you know you can be patient because as we've seen, Wilkerson has had a bit of trouble finding the zone. So they know that, the pressure is not on them in this at bat. It's on Wilkerson to try and find the zone.
2-0 count goes to 3-0 as Van Houten definitely taking all the way there. What do you got, John? Green light on 3-0?
I think the way this inning has gone, I would be really excited about a bases loaded opportunity with Mechanicu on deck.
He was taken, not hittable on a 4-pitch walk to Van Houten. So now it's going to be Mechanicu to see if he can extend the inning or if Wilkerson can limit the damage to 3.
And Gavin, I just saw a couple players down the Tin Lizard dugout kind of start to move up off the railing and kind of move around. So I think we're going to see some guys head down to the bullpen. And you don't want to take Wilkerson out too early in this game, but you got to be ready in case the Expos do kind of blow this thing open. But that's now 5 walks drawn by Firehouse Pizza.
Right on the edge there to Mechanicu as if they can get past him, it'll be batting around this inning. 0-1 count. In the dirt. Nice save there from the catcher Kuzniar. Could have saved another run on the potential wild pitch.
And Kuzniar pretty solid behind the dish, and again, that's huge. You got to be on your game too if you're a catcher. Can't let anything bite on any pass balls. I did see what looked to be Brett Granger and Nolan Turner heading down to the bullpen for the Tin Lizard Twins.
We'll see if they get in the ball game. Wilkerson trying to work himself out of a jam. 2-1 count. Up high.
That's where a lot of those misses have been. You've seen a lot of guys just kind of leaning back, trying to duck out of the way. I mean, it might just be maybe Firehouse is kind of maybe crowding the plate a little bit, but it has been the consistent miss spot.
Fouled away. Competitive pitch right there. So now 3-2.
That was more like it there from Wilkerson.
What are you looking for here from Wilkerson on 3-2?
I think you're just trying to just get back in the dugout. Don't give anything too fancy here. I just seem to go with a fastball, I think.
He does. It's poked out to center field, and it's going to get down for a hit. That's going to score 2 more. A third is trying to score. Throw off line. Play at the plate. He's out. Cash Van Houten trying to steal another run, trying to score from first base on a single to center field. He nearly had it.
Well, I saw Van Houten just take off, and obviously you were going to. Full count, 2 outs there. As soon as that ball was pitched, Van Houten was off. And obviously he's also got great speed too. He's really a 5-tool player. But when I saw him come around, I thought to myself, is that the second run coming in, or are they really trying to score a third? I really do not mind the aggressive send there from the Expos. Everything's been going your way this thing. Why not try and get a little bit greedy? But they do get 2 on that great single there from Mechanicu. But what an inning there for Firehouse Pizza, just blowing. Again, this game's not over yet. Still just a second, but you got to feel really good about yourself. And just where you are sitting, how things have gone to this point if you're the Expos.
Anytime you can throw up 5-0 in the second inning, you're going to feel pretty good about that. But as you said, baseball's a funny game. You never know what can happen. We've got several more innings of baseball left to play. here at Dozer Park, and Nolan Ryman will head back out to the mound for Firehouse.
And we have seen some kind of crazy comebacks. I mean, Sunday morning league. I know. I'll have to look and see if I can find the exact game, but I believe Weavers might have been involved in the game, a playoff game recently, where they were down most of the game. I think this might have been when we broadcast. I think it was Miller Lite versus Weavers last week. You can go back and check it out on our YouTube page. But Miller Lite was ahead most of the game. Then Weavers took the lead in the top of the seventh. And I think they might have been just one out away from winning the game and moving on. But I think Miller Lite had a 2-out rally in the bottom of the seventh to win that game again. I'll have to double check and see what game it was. I know it was one that we broadcasted. It was, I think, either the game on Saturday or Sunday. I will get to work on figuring out which one that was, but crazy game ended in a walk-off. Thought the game might have been over early, but turned out that was not the case.
Gotta get all of the outs. Can't leave anything to chance as Seth Bauman leads off for Tin Lizard. And he's down in the hole, 0-2, and then strike 3. As another K for Nolan Ryman. He is locked in 4 strikeouts now through the first 7 batters. Hunter Wheat will try and get something going. Fouls it away. It feels like a lot of these Tin Lizard hitters early on here, John, they've put some contact on some foul balls, so maybe their chance to break through will be the second or third time through the order.
Yeah, we'll see. Again, they haven't. I do not believe they have hit a ball yet to the outfield. They've got a couple of groundouts, a second pop out to third, a couple of strikeouts and a walk so far. So looking to try and figure out Ryman. But again, it does get easier that second time through the lineup.
Another swing and a miss. The 5th strikeout of the evening for Nolan Ryman. All have come swing and miss variety. And that'll turn it back over to Cale Jacobs. Trying to find their first hit of the ball game, not their first base runner.
And back to my earlier point, Gavin, that was not Miller Lite versus Weavers. That was actually Tin Lizard versus Weavers. And that game we did on Sunday, our last game before this one. So the Twins, they used to be the Titans before this. Yeah, I'm still getting used to their new moniker. But again, they are used to playing from behind, and that was a thrilling win that I unfortunately was not here in person for, but I was watching on my way back home from Minnesota. So that was a entertaining game.
Here's the 1-1. This one is hit to the outfield. Shallow, though, and very playable there for Ryan Vogel. And 3 up, 3 down as Nolan Ryman continues to roll here. Middle third. And speaking of Minnesota, John, I know you had a fantastic trip up there. I'd like to congratulate you on your engagement.
Thank you. It's really just kind of a whole whirlwind. I mean, it's something that I had been planning for quite some time. I think, me and I was going to say my girlfriend, now my fiance, so I got to get used to that. We both kind of knew it was going to happen sometime soon. We just had to eventually just kind of pull the trigger, and I had it all planned out, and it was a great highlight of the trip, though. I mean, that was easily the number one part of it, but we also had a lot of other great things. We went fishing, we went golfing, just kind of chilling, just unplugging from everything, honestly, which was much needed because, very busy year at Clutch Sports Media, and, we don't really even the summer, don't really have a ton of time off to kind of just hit the reset button and just kind of hit the reset button and unplug. But, appreciate, even though I was up on vacation, I really appreciate what you and everyone else at Clutch Sports was doing to, keep us going, and, still had a lot of broadcasts while we were gone and everything. So, big shout out to you guys as well for, picking up my slack while I was out kicking back in the land of 10,000 lakes.
No slack at all. It's a team effort, and you do put a lot of great time in, John. So well deserved vacation for sure. As the fall sports high school season is just knocking at the door right now.
Mm-hmm.
Opening that can of worms up here in a couple weeks. It's going to be super exciting. Football, volleyball, and several other sports that'll be covered. But we're got to finish up the Sunday morning league season first. as we've got the rest of this ball game tomorrow and potentially Saturday if necessary. As Connor Drowns will come up to bat here in the third inning, his second time up. Wilkerson fires in a strike. And last time Drowns was up, he walked, stole 2 bases, and scored on a wild pitch. So kind of just did it all himself.
Yeah, I mean, he is just a guy that you just do not want to see on the base pass.
Rips this to the right fielder, didn't have to move a whole lot. And there's out number 1, and better start there for Jace Wilkerson after a tough second inning, but trying to just hold serve, and hopefully his offense can come through for him.
Yeah, that was a better at bat from Wilkerson. You know, gave Drown some good pitches and ultimately got that first out, which again so big. But yeah, again, you know, even though that was a very quick top of the third, and Wilkerson didn't have a ton of time in the dugout, I think it does give him a chance to kind of hit that reset button, and Stufflebeam rips a single there. But again, you know, so just gotta get one pitch at a time and just focus on putting up a 0 and let your offense do the rest.
Stufflebeam shot it through the gap on the left side, and that sets up Brock Luna. He went down swinging his first at-bat, although he was attempting to bunt. So perhaps a more of a normal at-bat for him here. So he looks high at a ball.
Luna, another guy that, you know, travels some distance to play in the Sunday Morning League, is a Moline High School graduate, just right up in the Quad Cities area, just about an hour and a half up I-74, and plays his college ball at Central College in Iowa, which if you can get a close look at his batting helmet, he still wears it from his college team, the red with the white C on it. I believe they are a Division III institution, if I'm not mistaken. Either D3 or NAIA, one of the two.
Central is a very broad term to describe the college.
I bet they were, when they founded, you know, I don't know when that was. I'm sure probably a good time ago. They were probably like, hey, you know, if we're going to be the Central College, so I'm sure a lot of other universities might want the same name, so we call dibs.
This one's heading back. Luna got all of this one, and this one bounces up off the wall. This is going to be extra bases. Luna will hold it second, and that's going to be an RBI double from Brock Luna. Hit that one right to the central part of the ballpark and drives home 1 run.
Good play on words there, Gavin, and that was about one of the deepest parts of the park. Kind of back there. I'd say just off to the right center side, maybe a little bit deeper, but again, still these guys playing with wood bats, and he did get all of that one. That one might have maybe gotten out at Dave Rogers Field or maybe some of the other venues that PSML uses, but 6-0 lead now for the Expos, and threat still not extinguished.
This one's ripped to right. Looks to be playable. Dives, but he's not able to call it in. The attempt at least saved a run on this play. Luna only advances to third, but another single, Evan Jackson Bickler. And that looks like that'll be a change coming up here for Tin Lizard, as Jace Wilkerson's day will be done.
Yeah, you know, I think that after that flyout, maybe we thought that, you know, hey, Wilkerson maybe might have found his stuff, but stuff will be Luna, Jackson Bickler, single, double, another single. I think this is, unfortunately, as much as I hate to say it, they're probably the right call for the Twins. Just a tough outing for Wilkerson as they'll head to the pen. But again, you don't want to let this deficit get too deep. Again, it's still early enough in the game that you still want to give yourself a chance rather than just saying, hey, we're deep enough in the game, we're down by a ton, let's just cut our losses, try to extend our pitcher, and keep everyone else fresh for the rest of the series. You still have a chance to win this game if you're the Twins. So we'll see who they turn to. It looks like that is Nolan Turner, number 44.
So now we've got a couple of Nolans taking the mound.
Yeah.
Nolan Turner will be the new man for Tin Lizard, as he inherits a couple of base runners, a man at first and a man at third, and just one out in the inning. Nash Clements due up. 6-0 lead, pretty comfortable here for Firehouse, but I think the message has got to be we can't get comfortable having a 6-0 lead in a game like this, especially as you mentioned earlier, knowing Tin Lizard has that comeback power. Firehouse probably looking to just keep pouring it on.
Yeah, I definitely think so. Again, I mean, this is the championship series, so no real reason to let your foot off the gas at this point, and especially on the hitting side too. I mean, one thing if like okay, maybe they, maybe pull Ryman maybe in the third or fourth inning to maybe see if he can maybe pitch again on Saturday if need be. I highly doubt they would do that, but yeah, especially just the way they've been hitting, I say just keep on going. You got the top of the order coming up, and just one more batter, and this batter up right now, Nash Clements, already with an RBI single to his name.
We'll see if Turner can turn it around for Tin Lizard, as Nash Clements does stand in. One home in the inning on a trio of hits. Stufflebeam, Luna, and Daxon Bickler all getting on base with hits. Tough play right now out in the outfield, staring right into the sun. So going to be no easy defense. This one's down to third. Nice snag at third base. Back to first. And everybody's safe. Brock Luna will score. The throw to second pulled the man off the bag. So now the defense having trouble for Tin Lizard.
Yeah, that was a really tough play. I give Driscoll a lot of credit for stopping that ball from getting into the outfield, and he really had to, the extra time it took to just really get that ball and make sure he had a good throw, took Pippin off the bag, and from there was no chance to get Clements at first.
Had to move quickly and just moved a little too quick on the play. So Luna comes in. Vogel back up to the plate. He was hit by pitch last time up. This one's downstairs for a ball.
Looking at again Nolan Turner, the Twins' new pitcher. Something we noticed just before first pitch of this game. I wonder if he is of any relation to one of the better basketball players in the Peoria area, Caden Turner, who it appears we're up here in the broadcast booth, not up close, but it appears to it certainly looks like Mr. Turner down there in attendance taking in some action here today. So
could be some relation. Looking forward to seeing Caden and the basketball season.
Well, let's not put the cart in front of the horse.
No.
Well, not because of that. Caden Turner, might be getting ready for golf season.
Now that you say that, I remember that. He is an outstanding golfer as well.
Yeah, he is.
And a wild pitch to the backstop. It's a walk anyhow, so no one will advance any farther.
Turner was the first Peoria High golfer in over a decade to reach sectionals last year, and I didn't even know he played golf until last year. And I'm following all the tournaments on the air, looking at the leaderboards, and I said, Caden Turner, Peoria High. I said I didn't know he got. I knew he was again a great up and coming baseball or basketball player. Probably could play baseball too and be pretty good at it, I'm sure. But yeah, really cool. I did a story about him last year, and really nice, just down to earth, pretty quiet guy for the most part, and pretty good golfer. Excited to see what he does this fall and also this winter too.
Sometimes when you're an athlete, you can just do it all.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I wasn't blessed with any of those traits. Caden Turner took the golfing ability, the basketball ability. That's why we like watching guys like that. Fouled away to the roof of Dozer Park.
This guy, Jackson Chatterton, also played multiple sports. I believe he was Dunlap's quarterback back in high school.
It's been some time. We've seen so many different quarterbacks and great football players. Escapes my mind, but he was a football player of some variety.
I believe that way back in the early days of Clutch, the infancy of Clutch Sports Media, back when it was just Larry Larson and Joey Wright, I remember they said they called some Dunlap football games, and they remember seeing Chatterton play quarterback, lead the Eagles to some big wins. So there have been certainly some very fun, Dunlap quarterbacks that have come in over the years.
3-2 count, and it's outside, and a run will be walked in. So when it rains, it pours, as Firehouse out to an 8-0 lead here in the bottom of the third inning. No signs of stopping. Very, very patient at the plate, taking what's given, and room for some more damage. Cash Van Houten stands in.
Yeah, 7 walks now drawn by the Expos, Gavin. And what I really like about that is 5 of them have been drawn by the top 3 batters in their batting order. So, and a lot of those guys, may want to get up there. They know that, hey, a walk is, pretty valuable, especially when Twins pitchers have been struggling a bit today. Again, still pretty early on here for Turner, but I do really like the patient approach.
Turner ahead in the count, 0-2. And tried to get Van Houten to chase. He wouldn't bite. Something that hasn't happened a lot tonight are Tin Lizard pitchers getting ahead in the count. They've often been falling behind early in the count. It's kind of a no-no if you ask any pitching coaches. This one is laced down to the right center gap. That's going to be a base hit. It's going to score 1, maybe 2. There will be another play at the plate, and it'll be not in time. 2 RBI single for Cash Van Houten. Make it double digits for Firehouse Pizza.
Putting the fire in Firehouse Pizza. I mean, these guys' bats are just going ballistic right now. I mean, this is one of the better hitting performances I've ever seen in a Sunday morning league game that I have watched with my own 2 eyes. There's been a few games where some teams have reached double digits that we've broadcasted, but hardly anyone has done it in the first 3 innings, much less in a championship series game. So just does not matter who the pitcher is. The Expos, again, I'm not saying that Wilkerson and Turner have been pitching bad. The Expos batting has just been completely lights out. Nothing stopping these guys right now.
Expos about to wear out my scorecard. We're running out of room, as they've just been on a hit parade, a walk parade, finding ways to get on base in any way possible. Still just 1 out in the inning. Cracked foul.
Twins could really use another one of those double plays that they had to get out of that first inning. It's crazy to think that if they don't have that double play that first inning, they could have even scored some more too. So really has not been an inning where the Expos have not threatened.
And a ball outside, and quick battery meeting. Jason Kuzniar will go out to talk with Nolan Turner.
And Turner probably going to find his own way out of this, and no one warming up at the pen right now for the Twins. We, again, did see Brett Granger. It appeared to be down there warming up earlier as well, but once they made the new call, then I think Granger sat back down.
And swing and a miss, strike 3. Turner comes back with a fastball and gets the second out of the inning.
Big one there, especially with being the cleanup batter at Mechanicu.
And Drowns, who was the first out of the inning, way back very many batters ago, and a few runs, 5 runs to be exact. Drowns flew out to right field. So trying to get in on the hit parade. Turner fires. And a strike on the outside. A little bit of a breaking ball.
Yeah, good curve action there on that pitch, and it's just a lot of the strikes they've thrown have been hits, and most of the other pitches have been balls.
Ball upstairs.
I don't wonder what Nolan Ryman's thinking right now in the Expos dugout. Obviously, I'm sure he's thrilled. He's got a 10-run cushion to work with, but he's got a little bit of a extended break from the mound. Sometimes you just want to get right back out there.
Have to knock a little rust off. Arm starts to tighten up a little bit. See if he's able to come out with the same dominance in the 4th inning. Turner ahead 1-2. This one's ripped down the right field line, but foul. We'll see how Kent Dietz wants to play this for the Expos, but perhaps if he wants to maybe salvage Ryman for another game to maybe make an appearance pitching, maybe they'd take him out a little bit earlier in favor of somebody else trying to wrap up the rest of this one. Not saying he's ready to come out yet, but now you start thinking ahead a little bit. Hey, if we got to play a second or a third game, we want our best guys available.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought. I mean, I think part of you thinks that, hey, just leave him out there, just really ensure that we get this one. You can never be too sure in baseball as rounds strikes out there. But again, it is a valid point. Maybe Ken Dietz might not even be thinking about that third game. He just says, hey, let's just put these guys away in 2 and we'll see what happens.
He's thinking as he walks back over to the first base dugout, certainly strategizing this one as they lead 10-0. But we'll like to thank our sponsors for this evening's ball game and all season long here at the Peoria Sunday Morning League. All of our great sponsors, including Cruisins, Farmington Road and War Memorial, DC Home Base, Ducks on Farmington Road, Fairview State Banking Company, Jake Smith at Lexus of Peoria, JH Car Wash, Kim's Academy of Dance, Laura Martin at Remax, and again, Cruisins, the sponsor of the Reds, who just fell short of this championship series. But a great season all around, and we thank all of our sponsors. Make sure to get out and support these local establishments as they make baseball possible here in the Peoria Sunday Morning League and help put on great events like this one here at Dozer Park. A nice contingency of people have come out on a beautiful Thursday evening. Imagine the crowds will ramp up even more Friday and Saturday if necessary.
Stands have definitely filled up a bit more since first pitch. I'm sure, some people just kind of getting off of work, getting dinner, getting over here. But, hey, really nice crowd here on hand. I'd say at least over 100 for sure, maybe even over 200 as well. But, yeah, when you mentioned the Cruisins Reds, they were the league champion before Poor Bros was last year. So the last 6 league champions have just been 3 different teams. This has been a league that, there's a lot of parity, but in the end, usually it's one of either Miller Lite, Poor Bros, or Cruisins that has came through in the end since 2020. Miller Lite winning the championship in 2020, 2021, and 2022. Had a 3-peat, but...
And a nice play over by the dugout railing for the first out. That was Nash Clements over on the play. And 1 away. Still no hits in the ball game for Tin Lizard. They're trying to change that. Tyler Pippin will stand in with 1 out.
And a lot of these franchises in the PSML have undergone some sponsor changes over the years. Again, might be one team, one name, 1 year. Is that one ripped foul by Pippin? Could be completely different team name the next year. But again, I have to go back and double check again with the people like Zach Schulte and Tim Cundiff that may know a little bit more going back further in the history books. But Tin Lizard and Firehouse Pizza, neither team has won a championship series, at least with the current sponsorship they have right now. Again, very well could be the first in their franchise history. So very exciting series here coming up.
1-1 count. This one skied into left field. Looks to be playable for Chatterton. It is routine. And O'Loughlin is out. Rather, Pippin, that is. And now that brings up Jimmy Driscoll.
Yeah, like O'Loughlin, Driscoll, believe he is also another Metamora graduate. The thing about the Twins is, again, they just haven't been able to get that leadoff runner on base. I think as we've seen tonight, once you get that leadoff runner on, you can really do a lot with it, as we've definitely seen from the Expos tonight. But it's really haven't been many innings where the Twins really have seemed that, like, you have a good feeling they might be able to get something going. Ryman has been in the groove. And again, just that lone walk by Driscoll back in the second, their only base runner so far.
Driscoll with a couple of healthy hacks as he takes upstairs. He was down 0-2 last time up the bat and eventually worked a walk. Some patient batter trying to get anything going against Ryman, who has been absolutely dominant so far as he evens the count at 2. Driscoll awaits the 2-2 pitch. He hammers this one to left field. That is going to get down off the base of the wall. He's going to try for 2. It's going to be a close play at second base. Safe! Just gets the foot in there. Bang, bang play. A nice play in the outfield from Jackson Chatterton, but Driscoll able to leg out the double.
Yeah, that was a rocket of a throw from Chatterton. Driscoll, not the quickest guy out there, so a bit of a close play. But right as I said, Gavin, I said, maybe not many innings where you feel like Tin Lizard was really threatening. Now you do. Now you got to make something good out of it here with Grant Hackney. But I believe, again, you heard a kind of an overreaction from the crowd. I think that was the right call to front Peoria. It definitely looked like, at the very latest, it was a tie. And I think Driscoll did get in there. So, well done for him, and hopefully that can spark up Tin Lizard.
Very bang bang indeed. I do agree, though. I think the ump made the right call out there as first runner in scoring position of the game for Tin Lizard. Jimmy Driscoll has been the only base runner tonight for the Twins. Grant Hackney trying to just get one on the board.
Hackney's had a nice season, hitting .310, 3 doubles, 2 homers, 14 RBIs. So, got some power, got some ability to bring in some runs. So, definitely a guy that you certainly don't mind having him up at bat right now.
He was an all-star this year for Tin Lizard. As an outfielder, Tyler Pippin was their other all-star. And infielder, of course, Chase Wilkerson was league MVP. He'll stay in the game and continue batting, even though the pitching side didn't go quite his way. He's on deck. But first, it's Hackney on a 2-2 count. And a runner at second base. Ryman checks back at second. Long hold and fires. Fouled away.
Mechanicu playing very deep there at second. Not going to try and chance get anything by the infield.
Still a 2-2 count. 2 away. And outside for a ball. Good eye there from Grant Hackney, and now we're full.
Not a bad pitch trying to slide that one in the front door, but and strike zone has been a little bit smaller than usual tonight. This being a championship series.
Hackney, the 3-2. He lines this one into center field. It's a base hit. Driscoll's going to try to score. Throw right on line. It's a perfect throw. Ryan Vogel, a rocket to home plate. And that's the third out of the inning.
Absolutely textbook, Gavin. I mean, that was about as good of a throw, as good of a, again, clean pick. Didn't have to juggle it at all. And he, again, was coming forward with that momentum. That's something, too. We talked a lot about Vogel's hitting ability, his speed, earlier at the top of the broadcast. But he is a fantastic fielder and a great arm as well. I mean, there was really, as soon as he let that ball go, I knew that unless Driscoll pulled some Houdini magic out of his hat, There wasn't going to be any getting around that one, and just right on the money. Perfect pinpoint accuracy there from Vogel on that throw to Stufflebeam behind the dish.
That's a highlight play for sure. And Chatterton tried to get a great throw to throw him out at second base. Didn't quite get it. Vogel says, let me try. And able to throw him out for the third out of the inning. As Tin Lizard stays off the board. But a good piece of hitting there from Grant Hackney, able to work a full count. Last couple batters finally starting to get some lumber on a baseball, and I don't know, maybe a little bit of momentum there.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think, even though at runner throw at the plate, going to leave a sting in your mouth if you're the Twins. You need any run you can get at this point of the game. But I do feel you got to be at least a little bit encouraged knowing that, okay, we're working through the second time in the order now. These guys are starting to get a bit more familiar with Ryman and what he's throwing and going with today. And you got Jace Wilkerson, pretty solid bat starting the next inning as well. So you're still not out of this game yet. You got a couple more chances to, get these 10 runs back. I mean, heck, Firehouse Pizza scored 10 runs in 2 innings, and Tin Lizard could also do the same as well. So not counting our chickens just yet.
Firehouse Pizza, though, they're trying to add a little more insurance to their lead. A already pretty sizable lead. As it's Stefan Stufflebeam, who looked at a strike. Believe it's a new man on the mound out there for Tin Lizard. As this one runs inside and is a strike. Eats up the catcher, Kuzniar, a little bit.
That's still Turner out there, number 44.
Okay, they have it wrong on the scoreboard then. Have it labeled as Kruger.
That's Thomas Kruger, yeah. No, that's,
Threw me for a loop there for a second.
Unless Turner and Kruger went on a jersey swap. Again, some of the numbers do on occasion change, depending on who's all available. But again, as far as we know, that is number 44, Nolan Turner, on the mound for the Twins.
We'll keep rolling with that then. This one is chopped over to third base. Gonna be a tough play. Speedy! And still out.
Great stretch there from Bauman over there at first base. And again, a crucial first out.
Speedy Stefan Stufflebeam hustling down the line. Driscoll had to just rocket everything in his power over there to first. And Jimmy Driscoll, kind of the unsung hero for Tin Lizard. He's made some great plays tonight.
He really has. And, there was that one where, yes, he did have that throw that brought the second baseman off the bag, but it did, at that time, I think, save a run, kept the ball in the infield, made a sort of a nice double play in that first inning. And again, also, they're only, I should say not their only base runner of the night after Hackney's single, but only got to get on base twice for them here this evening.
Luna ropes this into center field, and that's a base hit. So he's got a pair of knocks now, a single to go along with his earlier double, and it's a one-out base runner for the Expos.
Look at the Expos season, Gavin. Kind of look at the full scope of things. It's kind of started off kind of ho-hum. Started the year 4-3, lost 4 in a row, including 3 of those 4 or those games to Tin Lizard. So they were kind of the Achilles heel.
And that was just over the second baseman Pippin's head. And it's another base runner on a soft single from Evan Daxon-Bickler.
Going back to the Expos season, and then after they lost those 4 straight, they won 7 out of their next 9. Really found their groove. They scored 13 runs against Weavers, scored 17 against Coles, and then 13 against Cruzins. But they lost their last 2 games, both to Cruzins, before the playoffs started, and then what do you know, as the game of baseball would have it, would beat Cruisins twice in a row to get here.
Driscoll picks it up over to first, and that is a double play. Second one initiated there by Jimmy Driscoll and gets him out of the inning, so no more damage done by the Expos. And we will head now to the top of the fifth.
Very similar inning to that first inning that the Expos had, where leadoff man gets out, and then you have back-to-back base runners. In the first, it was 2 walks, and the other time it was 2 singles. And the inning ends with a 5-4-3 double play on a nice play by Jimmy Driscoll. And we'll kind of take a look at Tin Lizard's season and kind of how it went for them too. Yeah, they didn't really start super hot either. They were 2-5 actually to start the year. Then they won 5 out of their next 6. Won a couple against the Miller Lite Falcons, one of the best teams in the league, and that was part of a stretch where they won, I think, actually 7 out of 9. And they went on a little bit of a cold streak in the start of July. Lost 5 out of 6. And now have won 4 out of their last 5.
Baseball is a very interesting game where you can get on a little bit of a hot streak, and that can be just all the difference. It's not often teams are completely consistent all the way through. It just is kind of the ebbs and flows of the season, and really the time you need to be at your best is at the end. Of course, you need to win some games throughout, but both of these teams have proven, hey, you get on a hot streak in the playoffs, doesn't matter what seed you are, you're going to make it all the way to Dozer Park for the championship series, and now one of these teams will have a chance at their first ever PSML championship, the Tomey Trophy, this weekend.
We got a pinch hitter here for Wilkerson.
That'll be Griffin No standing in for Wilkerson, designated hitter now.
No, a DMAC alum. 156, 2 doubles, 5 RBIs on the year.
Perhaps just giving Wilkerson a chance to reset his mind after a tough outing and get him ready for tomorrow. Certainly going to need him as No goes down swinging.
Yeah, very interested to see how just the Twins overall, and especially Wilkerson, performs tomorrow, because again, Wilkerson is on pitching today. It wasn't quite his day, but again, he's also one of the team's top bats as well. So we'd love to see him and the team come out here into kind of a new mindset, or really just kind of put this one, and not saying that it's over yet, but just put this one kind of behind them and really play up to their full potential, because we know what Tin Lizard can do, and they've been on a tear in these playoffs up here until today.
And Corey Seaver is batting for Jason Kuzniar. So maybe perhaps emptying the bench, just seeing if anybody's got some life out there for Tin Lizard, getting everybody a chance to get some ABs. Got to try something, down 10-0.
Yeah, Sevier hitting 256 on the year, double 6 RBIs.
It'll be interesting to see where the defensive alignment comes in after Tin Lizard is up to bat. This one is cracked over to third base. A little bit of a tough play, but ends up being pretty easy over there for the Expos' third baseman, Evan Daxon Bickler, and that's out number 2.
It's something to remember. I haven't mentioned it yet, Gavin, but we are in run rule territory. It being 10-0. So something to keep an eye on. Again, I have to remember the actual rule, but there's a chance that this, if memory serves me right, if they do call it after 5, this would be the last batter of the game if they can't get a run here.
Interesting to see if that happens. Of course, some difference in rules from Major League Baseball and things like that for the sake of pace of play.
I know there is a run rule in the PSML. I'm not sure. I would assume they would still use it in the playoffs and the championship series, but you never know. That's where that throw from Vogel becomes all that much more important, because one run, if you're Tin Lizard, you don't have to worry about that. Not a 10-run deficit anymore. So that was, they end up ending it here soon. That throw from Vogel is going to be a big reason why.
Thomas Mickles batting for Seth Bauman as he has a 3-1 count. Over to shortstop. Going to be a tough play. Van Houten over to first. What a nice play for Cash Van Houten.
Made it look easy.
And I believe that is the ball game, in fact, John.
That is indeed one of the quicker games we've ever seen. But Firehouse Pizza wasting no time. 5 runs in the second, 5 runs in the third. And due to the run rule, that does it from Dozer Park. A 10-0 win. And they really did it all today, Gavin. I mean, Ryman was on point. The batters were just on fire, just one after another, relentless at the plate. And like we saw earlier, some big plays in the field. Van Houten again, that was a really tough backhanded throw to make, but with that velocity he's got, you can see why whenever he's not pitching, they can put him at shortstop because he can really rocket it over there. Vogel's throw from the outfield as well to extinguish what would have been the Twins' lone run of the game to this point. I mean, just a sterling performance for the Expos, and they definitely have the upper hand in this best-of-3 series. We'll see what Tin Lizard has coming tomorrow, though.
You mentioned Vogel extinguishing a run. Appropriate he plays for Firehouse.
Yeah.
Out here extinguishing runs. We saw a lot of great action even though we just played 5 innings of baseball. We saw it offensively, defensively, everything in between. Of course, didn't quite go Tin Lizard's way. How do you reset and kind of change your mindset coming off a game like this heading into tomorrow if you're Tin Lizard?
I think, you got to get off to just get off to a better start. I think, whether that is, in terms of, being the first to score some runs or just, getting those leadoff guys on base, right? They did get one with Driscoll back in the second. They found a little bit of a spark later on in the fourth. But I think early on, once, we saw those back-to-back walks in that first inning, and then you add in those other walks to start off the second, and you have that RBI single from Clemens. Again, that was with 2 outs as well. And I think that was just the big thing, was just trying to stop the bleeding, right? If they could have just gotten out 1 or 2 of those innings, we're looking at a drastically different game if they can just get that 1 out and get out of the frame. But credit to the Expos, too, for having some of that 2-out magic to, score a couple of runs in that second inning. And, in the third, though, was a much different story. They went single, double, single, walk, single, I think, to start off that inning. Well, that was all with 1 out. That was after Drown's flat out. So that was all with 1 out in that fourth inning. So, or third inning, I should say. I got my innings all mixed up. But, yeah, again, either way, I think it's stopping the bleeding, a big key for the Twins tomorrow. And getting good out of your pitcher, that's obviously a huge key as well. And, again, you're also going to be facing someone different, too. Unless we see something highly unlikely, I don't think they'll face Nolan Ryman. So a chance to, again, get in your groove more against just a different face and maybe be a little bit more fresh in that regard.
Indeed, it was Ryman, the winning pitcher, a 5-inning run rule shutout as he allowed just 2 hits and 1 walk to 6 strikeouts on the afternoon. The losing pitcher, Jace Wilkerson, 2 1/3, 8 earned runs, 6 hits, 5 walks, and 2 strikeouts. So we'll see who's going tomorrow. Join us again Friday Night Baseball as the Firehouse Pizza Expos try to secure their first ever PSML championship. Tin Lizard trying to extend. If we need a Saturday ball game, Clutch Sports will have that one as well. So don't go too far. We'll have the rest of this PSML season right here on ClutchSportsIL.com. But that'll do it for tonight. Big winners are the Expos, 10-0. But first, we'd like to thank our entire crew that helped make this possible. On the camera was Carter Short, our producer Hawkeye Adams, for my broadcast partner Jonathan Michael. Gavin Russell saying so long from Dozer Park. We'll see you back tomorrow for Game 2 of the PSML Championship Series on ClutchSportsIL.com.